Good morning, America. How are ya? Monday Morning Rail. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world-famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is always a pleasure. Today is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday. You guessed it, it's show and tell. Now, before we get started, I want you to know that this show and tell is brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the people that make all the railroad clothing. So make sure that you go to jelsma.com, to the website, and order all your favorite railroad clothing. And with that said, show and tell starts right now.
Hi guys, it's Richard from the Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum. Today we're going to talk about a new building. This one right here. I say it's new, but it's new to this layout. This building is at least 40 years old. It was built for the former Gateway Model Railroad Club over at 5 Points in Jacksonville, and it sat on that layout for quite some time. It was there when I joined as a 20-year-old. This building is not plastic. It's not, well, it's something called Strathmore board. It came as a kit, I'm told, and inside, let me move the Swift car out of the way. Inside, you can see that it's wood strip, and get a good shot of the window over here, Greg. This window is ink drawn on acetate, something they don't make anymore as far as I know. This may have been a Campbell kit or a Suidan kit or something like that. But anyway, somebody put it together, and it stayed pretty much like this the whole time it was at the former Gateway Club. Now, when I got it, they wanted me to put some lights in it, so I installed copper wiring out of regular 120 volt wiring from home. Just stripped it all down and drilled little holes into the wood at either end, and just inserted the copper wiring. Then I soldered all the various lights to the 2 bus wires, or 3 bus wires, and then connected it to the club layout below. On the back side, originally when this building was built, this side was against a wall. You never saw it. But on this layout, you get to see all 4 sides. So I was told to put some loading dock walls into the back of this thing, and that's what these are. I just cut some holes with the X-Acto knife, put in some scribe styrene, and painted it silver roll-up doors. The rest of the building was pretty much as is, except for the roof. The roof itself was just black painted paperboard or Strathmore board. I decided that was kind of boring and it needed some more detail. So I took some sandpaper. I forget what grit it was. This may be 100, 150. Cut it up in strips and glued it in place to represent roll roofing. I did the same thing with the border around the roof. I noticed when I was looking at, in buildings looking down on the roofs below me, that these was roll roofing overlapping each other and everything is tarred in. So I had to do the same thing to this. So I cut lots of little strips and just worked my way around, gluing it in with PVA white glue, taking my time. And then I came back and painted a dirty gray, added some alcohol and Indian ink wash to dirty it up a little bit more, because our layout does have steam running, or it did. We're into the diesel age right now. So there would have been a lot of soot settling on top of this thing. Since this is a meat production plant, it needs to have a refrigeration system in it, and this roof had nothing like that there. So I had to make something. I installed some pipes coming from inside up to a homemade radiator. Now this is nothing but flat styrene that I cut notches in on the long edges and then wrapped it with wire. I made 5 of these, closed them in with styrene, and just built a little unit. The screen back here is tulle, what they use for wedding veils. Again, the hand cranks here are freight car hand brakes. The front side is a bunch of exhaust fans. These are nothing but diesel kit fans for diesel engines. I just bought a kit of them and just used them all. The idea is, with the fans turned on, it pulls air from the backside across the radiator vanes and exhausts it out that way, thereby condensing the fluid in the refrigerant, which goes back down below into a condenser system inside the building and completes the refrigeration system. Now, having this on top of the roof means you have to have roof access. So behind the shielding here that comes off of the radiator, there's an access thing, roof access port. That is scratch built. Come around this way, Greg. I built this thing myself. There we go. Got a little door in it, scribe siding on both sides. On the roof, it's just more of the sandpaper. To make that, I had to make a master. And to make lots of those for lots of buildings, I had to make a mold. This is 2-part epoxy vulcanizing rubber, this part here. Held together by 2 stiff sides, and it comes apart very gently, and there's my master. Another little roof access, and here you can see the scribe siding and the little door, which is just a plastic door I had on hand. To make this, once I have the mold is based on this stuff here. 2-part vulcanizing rubber, an A and a B. You mix the two together in equal parts, pour it in the mold you've got made, and let it sit up overnight, and it forms, well, a mold. And I did this twice, since this is a 3-dimensional model. I had to pour one side first, wait 24 hours, and then pour the other side. That way, I can pull them apart as 2 separate pieces. I made this. This is the master, but I made more of these out of Durham's rock hard putty. This is just a powder mixed with water to whatever consistency you want. It needs to be a little thick because after a while, when it settles out in the mold, water forms on the top, so it has to be a certain thickness that you have to determine yourself. It works really great. Picks up all kinds of details. Highly recommend it. Either this or plaster repairs. I really like this stuff. Also on the roof is a water tank for making ice when they ship out these things. This also is, I had to make a master, and I can make many of these. This is the water tank master. Again, it's made the same way. 2-part mold with a water tank. Now, if you remember a few videos back, I made a water tank out of a PVC end cap. This was made out of a closet dowel that you hang clothes on. and I just added striped siding to the edge of it, paper to the top, made my master, and started making more of these for various businesses on my own railroad and what we use here. This is an older water tank than the one I made previously with PVC end cap, but it goes together the same way. I can make as many of these as I want or as I need. Just by making one master. Also, for flat things like this stuff, I got side frames of freight trucks, side rods, one half of the trailing truck's side frame. You make lots of that for your freight yard by making a mold like this. All I did was I had some more masters. I ACC'd them to the flat side to a 12-inch by 12-inch mirror. Built a little form around it and poured more of the 2-part vulcanized rubber in there and let it set up. When I peel it off, this is what I got. I can make lots of these, as many as I need. Whenever I'm pouring something, making more of these detail parts, when it's real thin like this, I use this stuff. Again, it's an A and B resin mix. Equal parts. Just pour it into the mold, let it sit up overnight, and then pop out what you need. Sand them down to make them look really nice. These work at room temperature. Both the rubber mold material and the plastic stuff that I make detail stuff with. I got a whole bunch of mess here. These are some of the extra things I made for the Yulee train station. That's framing piece underneath the roof. I've also bought a box of tree stumps. Made another mold. And I'm using Durham's putty to make tree stumps. I also used it to make, I used a 2-part resin, AB resin, to make more tree stumps. If you're into logging, you'll need this kind of stuff. Anyway, this is all part of the fun of model railroading. So, if you want to detail up a building other than what's in the kit, make some molds, have fun. That's it.
Well, thank you, Richard. It was so informative. I just always just stand amazed at when I see my fellow modelers, products that they make, and then look at the end results. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. And there's a reason why our stuff is museum quality. Make sure that you go on Facebook and hit like, and also on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel and hit a like also, and we enjoy hearing all your comments. And we just thank you for the listeners week after week. It just keeps growing, and it's just really amazing. We thank you. And whoever in beautiful Jacksonville, make sure that you stop and visit our club. And that's the way it is at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is a pleasure.